Good morning, everyone. Welcome to class. Hopefully you had a really good restful night's sleep and woke up feeling healthy and happy and peaceful inside. Okay. And if it wasn't so much, we're going to look for that as we practice together this morning. That's going to be our goal, finding health and happiness, peacefulness. So let's bring our hands into the heart to get started. You can let your thumbs rest gently on your sternum. And then letting the eyes either drop to the floor or close softly. With gratitude, I salute all the great yoga masters, past and present. Special prayer of thanksgiving for Baba Hari Das. With joy, we recognize the excellent wisdom teachings of yoga, Ayurveda, and with vigor, we dedicate ourselves to self-transforming practice. So what do you need this morning for self-transformation? Just bringing that into your mind. Remembering it with manas. And then using your buddhi, your intellect, your discriminating wisdom, select the one that means the most to you and let that become your intention for the day. Repeat it positively to yourself as if it had already happened 3 times, your sankalpa. And then hopefully you can join me in one Om wherever you are, exhaling the breath out and a nice big inhale to chant. Letting your eyes flutter open gently on an inhale. Good, and then just reach the arms out and take a nice big stretch a couple of times all the way around in a circle. Just feel your arms waking up. And then a little twist over to the left side and bring the arms back up. And a little twist over to the right side and bring the arms back up. One more time, left side. And bring the arms back up. Keep your belly and bottom stable. And bring the arms back up. Good. And then let's just stretch our legs out in front for a moment. So we're going to work, before we get up and do any standing poses this morning, we're going to work a little bit on our hamstrings, those muscles that are tied to your pelvic basket, and then go down past your knee into the all the way down into past your knee. All right. So first, just put your hands behind your knees, put your fingertips behind your knees, bend your knees enough that you get a nice indentation there. And then begin to stretch your knees out, legs out until you get, you can feel everything engaged down there, really beginning to pull. Okay. And then bend them again gently. And begin to straighten. Keep your feet on the floor. And again, bend a little bit. Just let that natural concave shape happen. And extend a little bit. And one more time. Just bend and extend. Okay. And into boat, which we're not going to do today. And grab the foot, extend it out. And you can always use a strap. You can just put the strap right around and extend out the leg. So we have it flexed. Flex is, there's no flexion at the knee. But so just keeping the foot very strong. Good. And then bring the leg in and out. Good. Floor. And then let's hold on to the right foot. Okay. Just extend back enough. Curve your spine over. Okay. So lean back, get nice and tall. And then 3 times. I wonder if my microphone is so subtle that it can pick up the ground in my knee. Okay, so coming back. All righty, and now we're going to do a recline pose, and I'm going to do it facing my head so you can watch my legs, because that's the most important part here. You might grab a block. If you have two, you can also just use one, but just grab it and put it on either side of you because you might need it in a moment. So we're just playing with our hamstrings. If anyone joined us late, getting a little bit of action in there before we attempt some standing poses this morning with hopefully a little bit more mobility, okay? Good. So lying down with your knees bent, but where you can extend your legs out, and you're probably only going to see the lower part of my body, and that's fine. So your knees are bent, but you can extend your legs out, okay? And then picking up your right leg, you can put your strap around it if you'd like, and just stretch the right leg up at a right angle, right leg at a right angle. And just notice how that happens, right leg at a right angle. Really flex the foot, flex the ankle, and then holding on firmly with just the right hand, so don't get your left hand or arm or shoulder involved. Extend out the left foot and the left leg all along the floor, and see if that took any out of your right angle that you can form now with your leg. And if it did, just go with what's there, don't pull. Flex both feet, really work between both feet. We have to wait a few seconds. Press through the heel, heel toward the ceiling, press through the heel. Watch that my whole right shoulder is on the floor, even my elbow, so that I'm not really putting a lot of tension into my right arm or right side of my body. And now bring the leg about a centimeter, maybe an inch in a little closer to you. Keep the left leg extended and flexed. Foot flexed. Good. And then keeping your right elbow on the floor so that it can act as a fulcrum and a stop, just begin to open up the right leg out to the right side. Keep flexing the foot, pressing through the heel. If your elbow's on the floor, your arm can act as a stability point, just holding on to the strap. If you don't have a strap, just grab your pants leg, but try to flex both feet and really press through the heels of both feet. Breathe. Check into your breath. Now see if it can go a tiny bit more, but try not to let your left hip come up. Left hip stays firmly on the floor. And then go ahead and bend your left knee, put your left foot on the floor, and then draw back the right leg toward the ceiling. Just draw it back toward the ceiling. Good. And once you get there, just lift your hips off a little, shift them 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 inches over to the right side. And then extend out your left foot, flex it, keep it flexed, and then take the leg over to the left side. Switch your hands as you go, just taking the leg, letting it cross the body. Keep your shoulders on the floor, only as far as it goes comfortably, but flex the foot and press through the heel. Keeping the heel engaged is our important goal here. And then slowly, keeping the foot flexed, draw it back up nice and slowly, back to the ceiling. Go ahead and bend your left knee, put your left foot on the floor, and bring your bottom back into neutral. Straighten yourself out. Good. Keep the left knee bent, left foot on the floor, and then bend the right knee and bring the right knee close to your right armpit, just close. You can take the right elbow close to the floor. Foot is flexed. Keep your left hip on the floor. Keep your left foot, left leg is bent. Keep everything on the floor. And then straighten your right leg, just wherever it straightens, just straighten it, flex the foot, press through. Take your strap off or release your pant leg and just let the leg stay up of its own accord, of its own strength. Bring the leg now back into center. Press through the heel, just press, and then release that leg. Bend the leg, bend the knee, put the foot on the floor, and relax. Maybe you get a little tingling in the whole of your right leg, just noticing it. Okay, and now we're going to repeat the whole thing over on the other side. So keep your right leg on the floor, put your strap around your left arch, hold on, foot toward the ceiling, foot is flexed. Good. Flex the foot, keep pressing toward the ceiling, and just hold for a few moments. We have to wait a certain amount of seconds, about 30, 40, before the leg is going to feel safe and secure to release the right leg down and not move a lot. Keep flexing the left foot. You can put your left elbow on the floor without thinking. I just crawled it up, and that makes a lot more tension in your whole left shoulder. And then as you're ready, extend your right leg down along the floor, flex the foot, press through the foot and heel. Try to keep as much of a right angle as you can, but don't force it. Don't overdo. Keep the angle, keep pressing. Eccentric contraction. Keep pressing your right foot on the floor too. The heel is really firm, both legs. Heels are the king. And then slowly, keeping the strap only in your left hand, drop the leg out to the left as much as it can go without letting your right hip roll up. My left elbow is on the floor, allowing it to just support it. Try to keep your right hip down. Again, both legs are flexed. Be with the sensation. If you get to pain, come out of it a little bit. Don't go that far. There's a difference between sensation and pain. Sensation can be informative. Pain is not. Well, it is. It means stop. Bend your right knee, put your right foot on the floor, and then draw your left leg back up to the ceiling. Lift your hips a little off the floor, shift them over to the left side, 3 or 4 inches, set them down. Set them down. Good. And then let's switch hands with our strap. Extend the right leg out along the floor, and then taking the left leg over to the right side, only as much as is comfortable with keeping your shoulders on the floor. So just taking it across the body. No pain. That no pain, no gain is garbage. Breathe. Make sure your feet are flexed. Another breath or two. And then switch straps with your fingers, with your hands, and then bring your left leg back into the center toward the ceiling. Bend your right knee, put your foot on the floor, and shift your hips back into neutral. Good. And then holding the strap, keep your left leg long, and then holding the strap with your left hand. Right knee is bent. Bring the left knee to the left armpit, just bringing it down with whatever is comfortable on that side. Breathing. Keep your right leg where it is. Try to not roll a lot out of that right hip. Keep the right side. And then take off the strap. Extend the left leg up toward the ceiling. Flex the foot, nice and extended. Press through. So no strap, no hands, no nothing. Good. And then slowly lower the leg. Put the feet on the floor. And then lift your hips up, shift them over to one side. Drop your knees to one side. Coming into embryo for just a moment, just a nice rounded spine. And then we're going to press up. Come up to seated. Hopefully we all made it. And let's just check with the simple version first about with our hamstrings. Okay. Let me get this thing back. I've learned I have to hold it if I'm going to lay down. Okay. So bring the soles of the feet together for just a moment. And you straighten your leg at the beginning, hold the big toe and straighten out. See if that's any more comfortable than the first one was. Okay, let it go. Now grab the other one, straighten. Just see if it's any more comfortable than the first one. Good. And then coming up through a toe balance, just coming up through your toe balance. Balancing on the ball of the foot. It's not really a toe balance. And your hands can be on the floor, on your legs, at your heart, above you, wherever you want. Arms are fine. And then trying to stay on the ball of the foot, let's stand up. Good. Okay, down into your heels. Now let's try some standing poses for a moment, some that really require a lot of opening on the hamstrings. So we're gonna do a lunge. We're gonna go from the back to the front. So you can have your blocks waiting at the front of your mat if you'd like. Okay, so coming to the back of your mat. Good, take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, step your left leg forward. Notice your right leg. Notice the whole back of the right leg, the hamstring, okay? So press into the right heel. It's still off the floor, but press in, get long in that area. Good. Bend a little bit more because then we're going to expel ourselves back. Exhale. Good, okay? Same thing with the right leg. Take a nice inhale and exhale right leg. Lunge it forward. You can come off the back heel for a second and then press to the heel, not all the way to the floor unless that's comfortable in there for you, but just keeping it open. If you have super flexy ankles, you might be able to put your heel down, but there's no rotation, zero rotation. We're just pressing into the hamstrings safely, hopefully. And then go forward a little bit and expel yourself back. Exhale. Good. Take a nice inhale. And exhale, left leg forward. Good. This time I'm going to grab my blocks and I'm going to come down a little bit more. Good. So I'm just making a right angle as much as I can with my leg, with my knee right over my ankle. So check and see, knee is right over your ankle. Your foot's all the way in front. I've got my blocks. Good. Just breathe for a moment. And then plant the foot at a 45-degree angle. Keep your hips stable. And then unplant it. Okay, so you're just a little hop and then another little hop. We're going to do that again. Plant the back foot at a 45-degree angle. Keep your hips square to the short end of your mat. And hop back, flag heel. And again, warrior one heel. And one more time, flag heel. Good. Let's just switch here. So lean back. Bring the other leg forward. Okay, so now the right leg is in the front. And again, the knee is right over the ankle, forming as much of a right angle as you can. Pressing back through the left heel. Looking for a diagonal line in your body. Try not to hunch. Bring your blocks up to the high side. And then hop, little 45-degree angle. Keep your hips squared to the front and return. And again, a little hop and return. Again, a little hop and return. One more. Good. And just step back to this high plank for a moment. Press into your blocks and just walk yourself to the center of your mat. Good. And then let's start at the front of our mat this time. Come right in between your blocks, the very front of the mat. Good. Bring your hands into your heart. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, draw your arms up. Take a nice inhale while you're up. Maybe look up for just a sec and then exhale, diving forward. If you're not inverting today, just stay looking forward. If you're inverting, you can relax. That little extra tension on your hamstring, see how it feels. Everybody inhale to that flat space if you weren't staying there. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, extend. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, extend. And one more time. Exhale, fold again, stay folded. Bring your toes up, press into all four corners of your foot. Drape your toes down gently, bend your knees a little bit more. And then look forward into that flat back. And then now let's take our left leg back into a lunge. Good. Stay high first. Come to the front knee and just be there. So don't just throw all your weight in the front knee, but put your hands firmly on your front knee. Press back through the heel. Good. You're welcome to go down to your back knee, but since we're working on the hamstring of that back leg, it's more efficient for us if we stay up. But you can also come to your blocks or up. Pull in your belly, lift your pelvic floor, and see if you can add that little tiny bit of a back bend that's necessary here to appear upright. Good. We're going to take that little hop into that back leg like we did, hopefully with a nice, more open hamstring. And then if you're ready, sweep the arms up into a warrior one. Both sides of your hip are facing the short ends of your mat. And then straighten the front leg, come up. Let's look for that long spine in pyramid. We don't have to come over all the way, but just being in pyramid for a moment and noticing the comfort or lack thereof on your back leg. Notice your left leg. We're going to take that little hop and return to that flag lunge. Good. And then a little hop to the front. Good. Inhale all the way up. Just standing up for a moment. Take a few breaths. Let yourself relax before you do the other side. Just notice the difference between left, right. And then let's take a nice inhale, arms floating up. Exhale, diving forward. And you can stop midway. Remember, if you're not inverting, otherwise all the way over. Feeling the tension forming in the hamstrings. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. 3 more times. And this time when you fold, stay there for a breath or two. And then inhale, look forward, and we're going to exhale, take the right leg back into a lunge. Initially up, upright, press through the heel a lot, so make sure you've got the heel. Make sure you're on train tracks, that your legs are not one in front of each other or you're doomed. Okay, so that your right leg is on one train track and your left leg is on another train track, and never the two shall meet. We're going to take our hands to the front leg without dumping. So bring some weight into the back body, really lengthening the back of the right leg. And then to have this come out of that diagonal line, you're going to have to add a little thoracic back bend to bring you upright. Good. And then you can sweep the arms up if you'd like. And we're going to take that little hop with the back foot and place it. Good. That brings you out of it anymore, just adjust, but keep your hips squared to the front. Press into the outside of your right foot. Keep bending into your left knee, but don't take it past the ankle. Check your breath, smooth it out. Good. And then we're going to float our arms down to the blocks or to your front knee. You decide. Undo the leg for a moment. Put it back and look for pyramid. Good. I think that little putting it back and forth is better. Reach from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Really reach. Get long in the spine. And now, a little hop back into the flag. Excellent. And then your hands are on your block or your knee. You decide. A little hop to the front. Long spine. Let's exhale, fold. And inhale, arms to the sides, coming up, all the way up. And exhale, hands into Anjali. So just relax for a moment, just letting yourself soften. Check in. You can release your pelvic floor, your belly, just for a few moments. Then you're going to need to re-engage. But just take that little respite. Just let it go for just a minute more. Good. And then on your next inhale, opening your eyes, getting tall in the spine, lift the pelvic floor, bring in your belly, and re-engage everything you need to keep you strong and stable in your core. Great. We're going to step back with the left foot again, stepping back. Just feeling where you are. Keep the heel up initially. Notice that leaning forward. And then let's plant the heel. Good. Straighten the front leg. And come on over just until we can try to get a long spine. Just staying here in this almost pyramid pose. You can take your hands back behind you, interlace the fingers, and squeeze the knuckles back along your spine. Knuckles down by your tailbone. You might try lifting the toes of your right foot. Keep squaring your hips to the front. And then let's bend the right knee, stack it over the ankle, release the arms up. Good. And then little hop onto the back foot again. And let's just exhale to the front. Good. And one more time with the right leg. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, reaching back. Keep the foot up initially, heel up initially. Good. So we have that little forward lean. Let's go ahead and plant the back foot at a 45-degree angle. And then begin to straighten the front leg. Hinging at the hips. Taking your arms back behind and squeezing the knuckles toward the wall behind you. Straight front leg, straight back leg. Hips are squared toward the short end of the mat. And then we're going to release our arms as we bend the front knee, sweeping into a warrior one. And then let's have a little exhale, hop onto the back ball of the foot. Good. And then a nice inhale, and then exhale, expel yourself to the front of the mat. Good. Find your Tadasana. And we're going to come back down to the toe balance, okay? So however you want to take it to whichever orientation of your mat, use your blocks or not, just down onto your toe balance. And then I've got my blocks right beside me, okay? Because I'm going to extend out the right foot, right leg. It's just extended for a moment. And then bring it back, tuck it back under. And extend out the left foot, left leg, straight leg. Foot is flexed. Good. And then bring it back. And then maybe get your blocks out of the way so you can lower yourself gently to the floor. All the way to the floor. Good. And then let's just check on our legs again. So heels are on the floor. And let's straighten the left leg as much as you can come to straighten, and just see if it's much more comfortable in your first try of the morning. Bring the heels back together and then straighten the right leg. You can always hold your pants leg. You don't have to hold a toe. And back together. And then knees together for a moment. Just press your knees together. Relax your adductor, so relaxing the muscles on the inside of your legs and the groin. And then extend out. Bring yourself onto the front side of your sit bones, and you can accomplish that by just pressing under and pulling the flesh to the back, not to the side, to the back. So you get a little forward tilt. Flex your feet, flex your toes up toward the ceiling. Good. So that little bit of a forward tilt. And then let's just check on this Paschimottanasana, this westward stretch. So let's bring your arms up, palms facing one another, and then release the shoulders down. Hinge at the hip just a little and reach forward. And right now, just touch around your knees, either above your knees or below your knees. But let's start right there with the spine long. So just starting there. Paschimottanasana means westward stretch, and the stretch begins on our heels, comes up through the whole back of the hamstrings and the legs, the calf muscles, and then the hamstrings. And then it's going to move into our buttocks and our quadratus lumborum and through our spine, okay? So as we begin to surrender, we're rounding the thoracic spine in the direction it already goes. And then we're going to tuck the chin into the chest. So rounding the spine. Now reaching your hands out, only what feels comfortable out, maybe closer to your shins or your ankles or even your feet, you decide. But engage your arms, engage your shoulders, feel the shoulders wrapping around your body as your arms extend. Keep drawing the chin into the chest. If you were to open your eyes, you'd be looking at your belly button. And then on your next inhale, begin to peel your chin off your chest, looking out past your feet. Walk your hands back behind your knees on the floor, but behind your knees. Press into all 10 fingers and then press the floor away as you come up using your arms rather than your low back. Good. And hopefully after class, you can tell me if that Paschimottanasana was very different for you with your hamstrings a little bit more open, okay? So now we're gonna go to the floor. We're gonna, if you're not inverting, so you're not inverting if you're on the first few days of your cycle, if you have glaucoma, eye pressure problems, uncontrolled blood pressure, high or low, if you are any of those things, your inversion can be a very slight one, just bringing yourself close to the wall. And then at an angle, whichever angle is comfortable for you, just putting your legs on the wall. So uncontrolled blood pressure or something like that, this might be perfect, just right here at the very low. But you can also come up and up and up and up. As long as your bottom is on the floor and your shoulders are on the floor, you're only helping your lymph drain this way, okay? And the pumping of the blood, of course. So otherwise, take your block and we're going to go up into Viparit Karani Mudra. So if you're inverting, grab your block, put it underneath your sacrum. Make sure you have it firm there, that you are feeling like that is a very stable place. And if you practice headstand or handstand or another inversion, full bridge pose, you're welcome to do that instead of this. So you can decide and make it your own practice. But if you're doing Viparit with me, just draw in one knee toward the chest. Pause for a moment, just notice. Draw in the other knee toward the chest. Make sure you feel stable on the sacrum area, and then lift the legs toward the ceiling. Point the toes, flex the feet, and then relax the legs completely. Let them just balance in the sockets. Just breathing. Relax your face, your jaw. Try not to look to the side. That compromises your carotid artery in the neck. We do not want to do that. So looking up at the ceiling, never to the side. If you're taking another inversion, just watch your face. Make sure you're not scrunching it up to do the pose. Watch your breath, smooth it out. Another few seconds. Just taking your mind into all of the lymph and the blood and everything that's moving in an opposite direction as when you're standing. Thinking of this as rebalancing the pranic energy of the body. The 5 pranavayus, for those of you who know them. Just thinking of this as a recalibrating pose. And then slowly draw one knee into the chest, then the other knee into the chest, and just letting them relax. You don't have to draw them in far, just toward the chest. I'm no hands. And then one foot on the floor, the other foot on the floor, lift up off the block, and just take your bottom down to the floor. Taking your bottom down to the floor. Our next pose is Shavasana, but just see if you need anything in between. Do you need happy baby? Do you need anything you might need? Just find and make it your own. I'm going to sit up and mind the time, and you're finding your Shavasana. Babaji says this is the most challenging pose of all. It's so hard to surrender. So let's see how good you can do this pose, okay? Let's just challenge you to surrender. So finding yourself on the floor, all spread out. Don't think you're trapped by your mat unless your floor is too cold. But otherwise, letting your feet flop out to the side beyond the mat, let your arms flop out. Think of being a starfish. Keeping your hands below the heart, however. And just let go. Send some energy into the body, to the extremities of the fingers and the toes, and release. Feel the solidness of whatever is beneath you, concrete or wood, tile. Just let go. There is a space between your body and that surface. Just imagine yourself surfing that surface. Little bubbles of air in between you and the surface, and you're floating there. Slowly and gently, bringing your awareness into the breath, to the rise and the fall of your belly or your chest. Letting the breath expand a little as you bring the senses online. Rolling the eyes, moving the tongue, wriggling your nose, wiggling your ears, swimming your fingers and your toes. And then you might decide for a nice big overhead stretch, or you might shrink in, making your way gently over onto one side in embryo pose. Take your time, all curled up again, safe and secure, leaving behind anything that no longer serves you in corpse pose. And then slowly and gently, with intention, begin to press the floor away and spiral yourself up. Head's the very last thing that comes up as you plop it on top of your spine. Just keeping your whole body aligned at the end and just being still for another moment or two, just letting everything integrate. Body, breath, mind. And then on your next inhale, letting the eyes flutter open slowly. Good. So our pranayama for today, our breath control, I want to bring us back into abdominal breathing. If I could only ever teach you one breath, it would be abdominal breathing. It brings online our parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system. It allows us to calm down, cool down, look for other options as soon as the fight, flight, fright, freeze goes away. Okay. Sometimes we bring ourselves into the sympathetic response without ever knowing it. So just bringing ourselves into some slow, soft abdominal breathing, often called diaphragmatic breathing or belly breath. That's what we really want to focus on. So we're just going to do a little bit today because today I want to bring us into a meditation on the five senses and focusing on those senses. Okay. So just a little bit of abdominal breathing. Let's start together. So find your tall spine. You can bring yourself onto a pillow or a block or anything that makes it more comfortable. But if you want something for your meditation, go ahead and grab it now so you don't have to move between pranayama and meditation. My legs are chilly, so I'm covering my legs. So whatever you might need, just grab it now and then come back. So for abdominal breathing, we're going to start with an exhale and we're going to use our abdominal muscles. We're going to pull the belly back to the spine. Then we're going to release the abdominal muscles and let the breath come into that area. Basically, what's happening is we just are dropping the diaphragm. Okay, so exhale, belly to spine. Release the muscles, let the breath come in. Exhale, belly to spine. Release the muscles. Exhale, belly to spine. Continuing at your own pace. Becoming aware little by little that your belly expands beyond the navel, around to the side. So we can start right in the very center, about at your solar plexus, but also just let it expand out a little bit as you release the muscles and then exhale using the muscles. Hold transverse abdominis, then relax the transverse and rectus abdominis, and then engage the transverse and rectus abdominis. Just keep going. Just a few more breaths. Just keep going as I describe the meditation. This morning's meditation, we're going to focus on withdrawing the senses and focusing a sense. So our senses are the way that we get our information from our material world. So we want our senses to be able to isolate them if we want and notice them. I'm going to give you something that I want you to perceive, which is what you do with your senses, sense perception. I want you to perceive. I'm going to give you something to perceive. I want you to focus on that one sense that is needed to perceive that. Perceive as many memories as you may have of that sensation and forget the other four. Okay? So just focusing greatly on one sense perception. Ready? Nice tall spine. Odor. What sense do you need to perceive odor? Letting the other senses fall away. Flavor. What sense do you need to perceive a flavor? Letting the other senses fall away. Form. What sense do you need to perceive form? Letting the other senses fall away. Touch. What sense do you need to perceive touch? Letting the other senses fall away. Sound. What sense do you need to perceive sound? Letting the other senses fall away. Saying to yourself silently, I am not the senses. I am not the mind. I am pure consciousness. I am pure consciousness. I am pure consciousness. Releasing the meditation slowly. Bringing yourself back into your space, letting your eyes gently flutter open and just noticing the space around you. Notice how automatically you're using your senses, your sight, your hearing, your taste, your smell, your touch, just to know where you are. Bringing the hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. Any merit we may have earned this morning in our practice of yoga, we lift it up to the welfare of all sentient beings. So remembering your sankalpa, your intention, repeat it 3 times. And then letting that thought slip from your mind down into your heart space, symbolically from your heart space into the palms of your hands, and just lift it up and let it go off into the universe. Bringing the hands back into the heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste. Okay, I'm going to come to you in just a moment and we can chat about the practice and you can tell me what worked for you, how your hamstrings are feeling, and if you believe that you are pure consciousness. I'm on my way. I have cold floors, and so I'm always having to put my shoes on. That's what makes me a little slow. Okay, let me fix it where you can chat. Now, that's good. You're so welcome, Yachna. Nice to have you in class. Okay, let me undo this silly spotlight. And let me make myself a gallery view so I can see you all. Okay, great. I'm glad Excellent. Excellent, Padma. Great. So let's start with the meditation. Last night we were reading book 3 of the sutras in our Wednesday night sutra class, and which you're all welcome to join. Just tell me if you ever want to come into class. We're open to anybody coming in at any point in time. Anyway, it was on samyam, which is complete concentration of dharana, dhyana, and samadhi on an object of concentration, and we were studying the senses in each of the 5 senses. So yeah, it really inspired me to think about doing it as a meditation this morning. Just trying to focus on one sense at a time and letting the others just fall by the wayside. I don't know if you were able to do that a little, just realizing what sense you needed for that perception. And then, yeah, good. Jean and Jean both shaking your head. Manipa, good. Okay, good, Jolanta. Yeah, and really just letting the other ones go. And I think that does help us to remember that our true nature is much more than our sensory perception. And even the manas, which is our recording faculty that brings it back to us, and even the mahat, which is still entering the material realm, that we are pure consciousness, and we have been since the very beginning of creation. Hi, Antonia. Nice to have you back in class. So any comments about the meditation? It's something you can do on your own. It's something you can go back to the YouTube channel and pull the video and start doing it, How were your hamstrings? Did you feel that were your warrior ones any easier? That's a really important question for you. Yes? Good. Because for me, without warming up my hamstrings properly, warrior 1 is not very accessible for me. Hamstring stopped me immediately. My hamstrings are tighter than my QL, my quadratus lumborum. And we always laugh about there being a constant war. There's a war between here are your hips, and here's your QL at the top of the hips connecting it to the rib cage. And then here are the hamstrings at the bottom, and they're both fighting for that pelvic basket, and they both want it, And so if one is going to have to say, okay, I give up a little bit, usually. So if we're aware of which one we're working on, trying to give up a little bit, how was doing Paschimottanasana for you, that forward fold, now that you had your hamstrings a little bit more open? Was it different than usual? Good. Yeah, Jean's saying just a little. You guys can talk. I mean, you can unmute and talk if you want. Yeah, I feel like the hamstrings are, they're like a nemesis. I can remember when Warrior 1 was totally impossible for me. I could either do warrior 1.5 that we call it in the yoga teacher training, which is my hips cattywampus in between the two. They weren't front and center like they're supposed to be. They were not quite in warrior 2. They were somewhere hanging out in the middle. And so in YTT, we call that warrior 1.5. A lot of people just move their arms, their hips stay the same spot for both of those poses. And really, it's different, Okay, Jean, thanks. Your microphone's not good. Was my microphone okay when I laid down today, because I'm now taking it off my pants and holding on to it?
It was
good.
It was perfect. It was perfect. Yeah.
Good. I think I've learned the key, not just to lay on it. Oh, good. Yeah, practice was good to help to do warriors. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It just working on those hamstrings a little bit. Very seldom we kind of start with our general hip warm up and everything, but very seldom we take the time to lay down on the floor and do those leg openers that we were working on. And often teachers will save those for the very last of the class, kind of like relaxing. Well, those are never relaxing for me. I don't know if they're relaxing for you, but they're always, those poses are really challenging for me. So like to do them slower and softer as a warm up, I find it really helpful for me then to get into the warriors and other things. I saw some things going into the chat. Let me look. Let me go up because I've lost a few. Okay. Yeah, it helps with the sciatic nerve. Absolutely. Absolutely. It will totally help. Anything that's working on the back of the leg is going to work on the back of the hip. And that's got to do with your sciatic. Oh, good. Sarah was in a float tank, sensory deprivation, and focused on one sense at a time. Fabulous. Fabulous. Good. And Antonia, okay, good. Good with warriors. Okay. Yeah, it was probably fuzzy when it fell over because I had it on the floor and then I reached in and it had fallen over. A constant tight spot right below the hip where the hamstrings start. There's a constant tension. What exercise can work on it to keep it relaxed? Well, the best thing I think that you can do is it's right at the top where they attach. You know, the hamstrings attach at your sit bones, your ischial tuberosities. That's where they attach. So if you can actually, like I've got my hand touching my sit bones right now. I've got my fingers dug in underneath my buttocks muscle. And then I'm just gonna go with it. And as soon as I get that tight spot, I'm gonna press in with my fingers. I'm gonna exhale up because I need belly power. And then I'm going to massage it, that area. And then I'm going to go again. And I'm going to press in to right at the top of those ischial tuberosities, right at the bottom of them, where I know the hamstrings are attaching, and come back. And you can all try that to see if that like opens that space up, because just like when we're talking about our legs hanging in space, we need to support those muscles first or they won't relax. So if you like massage them and treat them gently and act like they're little babies that you love instead of big old muscles that you hate, they'll respond much better to you, you know. So try that, Varonita. Try that. Yeah, doing leg openers is the best. Yeah, great. And Padma, this video will be up on my YouTube channel, and those are all just there and ready for you to look at. It'll be up by tomorrow. And it's just youtube.com/Ginger Hooven. And there, everything that I've taught since almost a year now, like March last year, everything's right there on that YouTube channel. And I try to do as best of a description as I can. Like today, I'll say meditation on sensory perception, you know, hamstring opening. I try to do so you can go back and remember, you know.
Is there one, Ginger, do you think you labeled one warrior? Because I realized today I was getting a little confused about which way I was supposed to be facing. And I was correcting myself just because my knee was torquing, so I assumed that was
Okay,
wrong.
I'll put warrior 1 in that description too. I'll hamstring stretch warrior 1 prep. How about that?
Okay. All right, that's great. Thanks.
Let me write that down while I've got it in my head. Hamstring stretch warrior 1 prep. I'm going to put warrior 1 and Paschimottanasana prep, and then sensory perception meditation. Yeah, if you guys ever need something to remind you how to find it. Also, it'll have today's date, which is, oh, it's the 28th. It's my friend Zach's birthday. Waiting all month to call him on his birthday.
I love no pain, no gain. That it's garbage. I think I want it on my tomb.
Yeah, no pain, no gain is garbage. It's really not. So tell me, Jean, about your confusion regarding form. I don't even know where I said it, but tell me what. Give me a little bit more. And let's see, Brenda. My flexors get irritated, especially.
It was in the meditation.
Oh, form is sight. Form, like you can see form. The only thing you can.
Okay, that's what I thought. But
Yeah, sight.
Okay, wasn't sure. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and Brenda's flexors get irritated, especially on the right side. Yes, absolutely. But you have to do it at the beginning instead of at the end, right? So windshield wiper pose, which is a hip flexor relaxation. So just putting your feet on the sides of the mat, not on the mat, just right at the very sides of the mat. And then drop your knees to one side. That top hip flexor gets a stretch. You can take the knee a little bit closer toward the floor and then come out of it and go to the other side, but go really, really slowly. You can also put your hand on those hip flexors as you go over and just, give a little extra pressure there, physical pressure. That'll help it too. Yeah.
Thank you, Ginger.
Yeah, and that's a really good thing for all of us to do at the beginning of class too, because who doesn't have tight hip flexors, right? We're sitting at a desk most of the day looking at a computer. So tight hip flexors are everyone's nemesis as well as the tight hamstrings. Yeah. And I think the tight hamstrings are in rebellion
Yeah,
because
I
they're
think
bent all
I thought
day, which makes them
I
not
thought
be.
they're supposed to like be responsible for like trying to be in control, tight hips, like holding the motion of trying to be in control, not letting go, like not letting.
Hamstrings?
No, hips.
The
Sorry.
hip flex, yeah, the hips, yeah, they are, but well, we have all women especially have a lot of emotion held into the hip area, so it's not unusual. I mean, I remember telling my students back in 2000 that yoga wasn't necessarily comfortable. Like when I first started with my daily asana practice, I ached at night because I was opening up things that I hadn't opened in years, and it ached. I would go to bed and my hips would ache. I felt like my insides were readjusting and were moving. I felt like everything was changing, and indeed it was. I mean, I now know that it was, but there was this deep, deep aching in my hip joint. And I'm sure it was just getting all of the emotions out that I'd been holding there from years and years of sadness and terror and all kinds of things, right? So just letting that happen. So it doesn't necessarily mean, and it's not a pain that you'd go, I mean, it's a pain that you can tell this is just something working really deeply, really, really deeply. Yeah. You're welcome, Mina. You're welcome. So nice to have you in class. Well, so here we are at another weekend. It's amazing how fast the weeks go, but I do want to encourage you to think about taking the class with me in March, all the Wednesdays. It's from 8 to 10 in California, so it's pretty late for us here in Guatemala. It's 10 to 12 on Wednesdays, but it's all 5 Wednesdays of the month. And because if you like today, the sensory perception, we're going to go into the elements, like those tanmatras that I just talked about are the subtle energies of the 5 elements. And so we're going to go into all of those. And Donna's putting up she just put it up in she put the link up in the chat. So you can even click on that now and it'll take you there after class, right? So, or you can hold on to it and what do you call it? Copy it and take it after. But it's going to be exploring all of the 5 great elements and their 5 tanmatras, their 5 subtle elements. So we're going to work, there'll be an overview every time about the 5 elements, but then we're going to work specifically on one element each month, each time. And it is a paid class, but hopefully for some of you that might be possible. Okay. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad the sound was good. I just am taking it off my lap anytime. I'm taking it off my belt or my pants every time I have to lay down. It just doesn't seem to like to be laid on. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. And hopefully, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I'll see you next Tuesday. Now, remember, Tuesday is 7 o'clock in California, and Thursday is 6 o'clock in California. And so that means here in Guatemala, it's 9 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Okay. All right, everyone. Much love. Invite a friend to class. Nice to see you. Ciao, ciao.